Welcome everybody. I'm joined on the line today by writer, actor, boxing promoter Steve Wraith. How are you, mate?
Yeah, Happy New Year. Nice to speak to you, Adam.
Happy New Year, mate. Nice to speak to you too. So, lots of things seem to be going up involved in Newcastle in terms of boxing at the moment. You're playing quite a big role in that, bringing Matchroom to Newcastle, I believe, and we've got a big fight on the 4th of April with the North East very own Bradley Saunders. If you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit of your role in how you've been able to bring Matchroom boxing to get involved with boxing in Newcastle, Stephen.
Yeah, I mean, my background is in the unlicensed game, to be fair. I worked with the European Boxing Federation, the EBF, for 7 years, and I've got a real thirst for it. I've always been a boxing fan, and I think a lot of the local promoters who feel are probably more akin to up here, the likes of Tommy Conroy and Phil Jeffries, used to say to me, don't get involved with professional boxing. There's not any money in it. You know, you only end up getting stressed and grey hairs. Well, somebody who shaved his head, grey hair was never going to bother us. And I've enjoyed it. I got my first pro show off the ground 2.5 years ago when Phil Jeffries co-promoted a show with me in Gateshead. It was a success. We made a small profit on it. Tommy Ward fought on that, one of the Ward brothers, and I've never really looked back. I got my full licence in the July of that year, and I've put on 9 successful shows. There's been ups, there's been downs. I've worked with people who I won't work with again, but I've worked with some really good people who I've built some good relationships up with, and I've tried to play the game properly. I've tried to unify the people north, south, east and west, because I'm from Newcastle, but there's some great boxers in Middlesbrough, there's some great boxers in Sunderland, and although I'm a big Newcastle United football fan, I'm a great believer that that doesn't come into the boxing side of things. I'm not really one who agrees with football coming into boxing, say a boxer association himself with a football team, because I think it makes ticket sales difficult. It alienates the fighter from different regions, and I've tried different things.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually. Yeah.
We've tried a few gimmicks, and the way we've promoted our shows has been slightly different. And 2015, we're hoping is going to be the biggest year yet, because, as you say, we've managed to attract Eddie Hearn to the region.
Yeah.
That started about 12.5 months ago.
Really? Okay.
We went down to London. My business partner Danny Cox works for the PDC Dart.
Yeah.
And obviously his dad, Tommy Cox, actually helped set the PDC Darts up with Barry Hearn. So we had a connection with the Hearns, but only very slight. And Danny pushed for the meeting, and Eddie was good enough to give us a time slot at the Grosvenor Hotel when Lee Selby had his press conference.
Yeah.
And we went down there. I was expecting to meet him for 5 minutes, say what we had to say, and then be away. But Eddie gave us 45 minutes of his time. He even bought the coffees, and we sat there, explained what we wanted to do in the North East, and he listened. He gave us his thoughts. He gave us his ideas. And his final words were, "Well, look, when I'm ready to move to the North East, I'll give you a ring." 12 months on, we hadn't heard anything from Eddie, and we saw that he'd launched, his Fight Pass shows and various other shows in different regions. He linked up with good people like Steve Goodrun, who's a good mate of mine, and I thought maybe, our time would come, but I wasn't sure when it was going to come. And then before Christmas, we had a phone call from Eddie to say that he just signed Bradley Saunders. And, when he came up, he wanted to meet us, and were we ready to take it on, the Matchroom stable on in Newcastle and help them out with it? So, the answer was yes, and that's where we are at the moment. We're just today going to announce a Matchroom Fight Pass show, which is going to be a prelude to the April the 4th. It's going to be a small show. We have a few boxers who would like to get out prior to April the 4th, and obviously our plan is to showcase some of the younger talent. So we have Paul O'Hagan, who's a cruiserweight who has boxed on a couple of my shows over the years. He's making a bit of a comeback. We have young Baggy Razak, who fights out the Mark Roselle stable. He's going to be fighting. Andrew Buchanan, who is still at the early stages of his career. He had to duck out of boxing for a few years. He made quite a successful comeback a couple of years ago, so he's going to fight on the show as well. We've also got board meeting pending and licence granting a young lad called Billy Smith making his debut. And an up-and-coming Cameroonian boxer, one of the former Olympians, Abdon Caesar, who's based in Middlesbrough. He's going to be boxing on the show as well. So that'll be a Fight Pass show on the 7th of February, Saturday the 7th of February, and that will be at Gateshead Leisure Centre. And anybody who wants tickets for that can obviously visit our website. They're on sale now, www.wraithpromotions.com. And one little thing we are doing for that is I'm a big supporter of the amateur scene in the North East.
Yeah.
And we're offering a New Year offer to the amateur clubs. It's something which we'll be doing on all of our shows now. We'll be offering 200 tickets, £20 tickets to amateur boxing clubs in the region. You'll be able to take up to a maximum of 20 tickets for any professional show that we do in the North East. That's a relentless promotion show or a Wraith promotion show, not obviously the big Matchroom shows.
Yeah.
But any of the small hole shows that we put on, you'll be able to take 20 tickets for your amateur club, and any of those tickets you sell, you'll be able to keep 50%. So, you know, if you sell 200, if you sell 20 tickets for...
Oh, hello?
Yeah, sorry, you lost us there a second.
Yeah, you just said 20 tickets.
Yeah, so each club can claim 20 tickets, and essentially you'll be able, you know, if you sell those 20 tickets, it's a good chance for an amateur club to make £200 going into the new year.
Definitely, man. That's a really good idea. That's a really cool idea, and it's nice that I didn't know anything about the Matchroom Fight Pass stuff, so that's really exciting.
Well, you've just got an exclusive, Adam. We've just announced it today.
Excellent, brilliant.
Just announced on your show, and I just thought, well, obviously we've tried to get this interview off the ground a couple of times now.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're both busy guys, but I thought we'll give you an exclusive. You can push that out and use that on Twitter, etc.
Definitely, that's really exciting. That's really cool. Well, that's quite nice because obviously you've got a few months until the big show at the Metro Arena, and that's quite nice. You can, you know, you'll possibly be able to get see what some of the other younger talent will be able to do in the area in terms of tickets and things like that. So,
well, that's it. Eddie's going to come up and back the show. I mean, obviously he's given us the Matchroom Fight Pass back in for this show. You know, after Christmas it is incredibly hard to sell tickets for these kind of shows, but we're still expecting to be pulling in a crowd of, you know, 350, 400 Northeastern fight fans to come and watch this, and you know, interest will be quite high because of the fighters we've got on it. We're quite sure of that. But it'll also be a good chance for us to promote the upcoming show on the 4th of April. And I gave Bradley's Northeast debut on a Frank Warren show a couple of years ago when we did a show with Frank Warren at Gateshead Leisure Centre. And Bradley brings a lot of fans. You know, he's got a huge following up here. He is the next big thing, I think, as far as fans are concerned. You know, he's quite old in terms of fighters. He's in a rush to get where he needs to be, but he's got the talent. He undoubtedly got the talent to do it. And I think the fact that, you know, Eddie is you know, confirmed already that Anthony Joshua will fight on this show. You know, we've also got Jordan King fighting on it as well, another good local Northeast fighter with good pedigree and good following. Simon Vallely is going to fight on it, but I think for me, the fight which will probably steal the undercard is a fight which I promoted in South Shields last October, which was Anthony Nelson against Terry Broadbent.
Yeah,
the English flyweight title. It was a cracking fight. Anthony Nelson hadn't really been able to train either a couple of weeks before that fight because of a potential injury which he felt was oncoming, and I think when you watch that fight back, I've watched it a couple of times now. For me, that was the fight of the year in 2014 in Newcastle, Gateshead, you know, Middlesbrough, South Shields, Sunderland, wherever. It was the main fight in the North East, and to have that on this undercard on the 4th of April in a big arena, it's deserved for both fighters, you know.
Yeah, that's great news, mate. Well, what else we got on the card? So we've obviously got the big one. We've got Dave Ryan against Bradley Saunders, which I think is going to be a really good fight, and I don't see that being that easy for Bradley at all. So that's a really good fight and a really exciting division. And am I right in thinking Travis Dickinson's going to defend his British light heavyweight title?
He won't be defending his title on this show. I think they're possibly looking at a Commonwealth. Obviously, Eddie's yet to decide what's happening with Travis, but Travis is definitely on. John Lewis Dickinson is obviously coming off the back of two defeats, you know, which is a pity. But you know, John's still got, you know, quite a lot to offer North East boxing and I'm sure British boxing, and I think he will be back with a vengeance, and he'll be back with a bang on the 4th of April. I think you'll see a different John Lewis Dickinson on this fight. But Travis coming back as well. I think, you know, Eddie's got plans for both of those, and it's great. You know, I've been able to help make that happen. My relationship with Eddie has started off really well. I've got a good relationship, as I say, with a lot of the boxing trainers and a lot of the boxing managers in the North East. So being able to get, you know, Travis and John to go on this bill was a major achievement for me in an early stage of my career. But also to get, you know, to get Anthony and Terry on as well was another one of my suggestions, and I'm pleased that Eddie's taken that on. So, you know, for me, it's the start of an exciting relationship, and getting back to Bradley, it is a tough fight, you know. But Bradley's past the point of having easy wins. You know, he has to be tested if he's gonna prove how good he really is. He needs to be tested, and I'm sure that he will be. I'm sure that he will be in a fight come April the 4th. But again, I'm very, very confident that you know, Bradley will walk away with another win and another good performance.
Yeah, well, it looks. I don't see you. I can see it selling out personally. I'm looking at it now. Stephen Simmons is fighting John Lewis Dickinson. He'll bring some fans with him as well. You've got Joshua on the bill. That'll be great.
Yeah.
I imagine they'll be stepping him up again. So I'd expect to see him in another good fight. So it looks really exciting, and it looks it's another great example of Matchroom going to a new city where there's, you know, a lot of people who are very passionate about sports.
I think it just gets back to what I was saying, you know, about the whole football. That Newcastle United is a huge part of this city. You know, obviously the show is going to be in Newcastle, but boxing, it unifies the. You know, I think we've had a lot of publicity up here in the last couple of weeks about the Newcastle and Sunderland rivalry and, you know, the hatred between some supporters. But when it comes to boxing, you know, it's a unified city. The Newcastle, Sunderland, Middlesbrough, and those places further afield, everybody gets together and supports the sport of boxing. And I think you're right. I think Eddie has got a potential sellout on hands with this show, you know, and I think there will be other names obviously going to be added to the bill from Matchroom stable. But I think when you look at it at the moment, it's a great bill as it is. But I do think there'll be more to be added from Matchroom, and I think Eddie will do really well in the North East.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I really am. So talking about the future, when the Bradley Saunders signing was confirmed for Matchroom, one of the first things Eddie Hearn was talking about was trying to get a fight in St James's Park. So he's obviously got that in his sights. How great would that be? Bradley Saunders might be fighting for a world title at St James's Park.
It will be fantastic. It will be fantastic. I mean, 52,000 people inside that stadium, you know, is not something that is inconceivable, because, you know, when you look at Swatch against Groves and at Wembley, I don't think anybody could have, you know, foreseen that before that happened, you know. And I mean, look at how monumental a fight that is. But when you look at St James's Park, if you get the right person competing for the right title, then, you know, there's no reason why it can't sell out. I think the one thing is with Matchroom is that, you know, they've carved the niche now. That, you know, they're the front runners in boxing, and with the backing of Sky, it can only get bigger and better. And they've tapped into a sleeping giant up here with boxing, and I'm just pleased to be part of it.
Definitely. Well, it's all very exciting. I remember when it first started, like because it was all quite quiet, the Bradley Saunders things. There were a couple of rumours, and then bang, Matchroom are in the northeast as well. So a lot of the great work has to be credited to yourself, Stephen, and a lot of people in the area must be really excited. Obviously, I'm at the other end of the country in Southampton. We're trying to do something similar to what you're doing, but yeah, it's nice to see the sport growing, and going to cities like Newcastle can only be good for the sport.
I think if there's people like yourself, Adam, and other people who are big boxing fans and people who put shows on and that, never say never. You know, Southampton's a great place. I've been down there before myself. Fantastic part of the country. I just genuinely think that, you know, if you want to achieve and you dream, you know, you have dreams and ambitions. You know, it's all about hard work, really. And you know, 2.5 years hard work has got us to where we are now in the North East with Matchroom. Yeah, but for me, the work really starts now. You know, we've got to continue to promote, push. We've got to go out and discover new fighters, and you know, we've got to make sure that Matchroom's vision isn't just a fleeting one; it's yet to stay. You know.
Yeah, so you talk about there, like looking at a younger talent. You this really is a long-term plan for you. You're looking at younger fighters coming through, and you say you're a very big fan of the amateur scene. This is you're in it for the long run.
Yeah, my ambition is to have a world champion in Newcastle who comes through from the amateur level. You know, it's something I want to do. I'm not a money motivated person. I'm not driven by greed. I'm not driven by money. I'm not driven by profit. You know, and I'm driven by the challenge. There's nothing better for me than to come away from a fight show, you know, that I've put on. South Shields was a prime example last year after the Broadbent Nelson fight. Taking South Shields, you know, boxing back to South Shields for the first time in 7 years, having close to 1,500 people in there, and seeing Nelson lift the English title. You know, the buzz that I got was you know, following that 2 or 3 days later, still getting text messages or messages on social media from people saying, you know, well done, thanks for that. We thoroughly enjoyed the show. Credit to you. And you know, it's nice to get that, and that's my payday. And you know, to be able to discover somebody who comes from an amateur level and comes all the way through. That's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate dream. And if that happens, you know, I'll be one happy promoter.
Excellent, mate. Well, is there anyone we should have our eye on coming out of the amateur scene? Anyone in particular?
There is a couple, yes. I think the one man to look for is the Sandman, Lewis Dixon. Davey Rich is a well-known amateur coach up here, and Lewis the Sandman Richton has got a good amateur record. He's getting ready to turn pro now, and I think you'll be seeing something of him in 2015 certainly. There is also a young lad called Jeff Saunders, and the surname might seem familiar. That's because it's Bradley's brother. And he's coming through as well. We're still in negotiations, but I'd like to think we could get him on the 7th of February show. It might come too soon for him that, but if we can get him matched up and if we can get him through all the details with the board, I'd like to think Jeff Saunders would make his debut on this show as well. Excellent,
brilliant, Stephen. It all sounds really exciting. I can tell by your voice, it looks like a real winner. I really mean that. So brilliant. Well, finally, I just wanted to touch on your acting career. Well, you got any roles coming up, or are you just fully on the boxing now?
No, I've got a couple. Yeah, I mean, I'm a guy who likes to spin a few plates. I've obviously just come off the back of the successful Governors film, which was made by Fulwell 73. Great director called Gabe Turner. Cool. You know, I'm still at the very early start of my career. I came back into acting late, and I wanted to be an actor when I was a child. I was a child actor from 7 until I was 17. Then I ditched out. I came back in, and when I was 30, did about 6 years as an extra. But I went back and did a degree at 35, a performing arts degree, and graduated when I was 38. And I've been a professional actor ever since. And I've had some small roles. It's been good. There's been some great little parts and great little cameos. Still treat it very much as a hobby. I do have an agent, which is great, but there's a couple of films in the offing for this year. One in particular called The Middleman, which is about a guy. It's a guy's book called The Middleman, Philip Howard. But I'm actually going to be playing a boxing trainer in that. So,
right, cool.
That's going to be quite interesting. But we've got, we've got other irons in the fire. I do like to do a little bit of stage work as well. I haven't done pantomime for a couple of years, so I might get back into pantomime at the end of Christmas. But I do find the acting is a bit of a release from all the stresses of being the promoter, to be fair. Cool.
That's cool. That works out nicely. Well, I'd just like to thank you so much for coming on, mate. It's been really, really nice chat. Really interesting to find out how and why everything's going so well in the North East with boxing. And I'm sure we'll get you on again before the show.
Top man, that's great, Adam. Thanks very much. Keep up the good work, and make sure you copy it in on all the social media. I'll make sure I get it out there. But thanks very much. All the best for 2015. I'm sure I'll speak to you soon.
You too, mate. Cheers, buddy.
Take care, mate. Bye.